I have mixed feelings about a Twilight reboot. Do I feel it's necessary? No. Would I still watch it? If I'm being completely honest, yes. I'd binge it to excess and then demand the next season. As far as my principles go, I'm sick of reboots and remakes. I want to see original content, or at least adaptations of books which have received little attention. At the same time, I'm only human, and like many others, I can't help craving what I know. It's my opinion that the films did what they needed to. They were faithful to the source material. Kristen Stewart felt like Bella to me, and the films, for all their flaws, are fun to watch. Once, if not twice a year, I make a point of watching them, enjoying my own frequent Twilight marathons. Along with the Harry Potter series, they're movies I enjoy losing myself in. Furthermore, the Twilight films didn't have to cut the same amount of material as the Harry Potter franchise did. This is only my opinion, but I feel a Harry Potter reboot is justified, if only because of the vast amounts of subplots, scenes, and whole characters which were excluded from the films. I'd like to see Peeves on screen, or other characters like Ludo Bagman or Winky the House Elf. The Twilight films cut a few scenes I'd love to see, such as Carlisle's backstory and James's reveal of Alice's past. But the films, in cutting characters like Ben and Lauren and condensing them, actually, as far as I'm concerned, improved on the books. The movies helped to remove much of what was redundant in the books, such as unnecessary prose, characters who didn't contribute to the plot, Bella's ruminations, and all those times Bella cooked or ate something. All this said, there are ways a new television show could improve on both the films and the books. In some ways, I feel the films improved on the books, though certainly there are aspects of the novels, such as Bella's comebacks or Alice's schemes, which were glossed over in the films. The shows could develop the characters further, giving us the scene in which Carlisle shares his past with Bella. And this could be a good thing, I think. Before we continue, I'm Riley and this is Otherworldly Fiction. On this channel, I rant about fantasy books, discuss characters and lore, share my bookish opinion, and offer the occasional writing advice. If any of that sounds like your cup of blood, hit that subscribe button. Posts are on Fridays. I'm sick of reboots and remakes. At the same time, I'm unconditionally and irrevocably in love with this series. And in my mind, there are at least 8 ways the show could improve on the books and films. Number 1. Bella's friends. In a previous video, I discussed how the films, in some ways, improved on the books. And in that video, I mentioned Bella's friends. In the novels, Bella's friends don't do much beyond providing the odd comic relief. It's realistic that Bella would have human friends, but they never contribute to the plot in any meaningful way. Beyond Jessica nudging Bella into discussing Edward, you could take them away and the plot would be exactly the same. In the films, while they still don't have a dramatic effect on the story, Bella's friends feel more likable. In the books, Michael and Jessica are cookie-cutter characters. You have the stereotypical mean girls in Jessica and Lauren, and the characters who might have been likable, such as Angela, are given too little page time. As for Ben and Lauren, their inclusion is unnecessary. Jessica and Eric already fulfill the roles provided by Ben and Lauren, having similar personality traits. And I agreed with the filmmakers' decision to combine the characters. The films also gave everyone personalities. From Tyler stealing Michael's chair, to the discussions Bella actually has with her friends, the crew feel more natural. At the same time, there are moments from the books I'd like to see in the show. When Edward holds up everyone's cars, so Tyler can ask Bella out, and the quiet scene where Bella helps Angela before graduation. While sitting with Angela, Bella debates whether or not she should allow herself to grow closer to Angela, or whether she should start pushing her away now. However shallow Jessica is, Bella has always liked Angela, and Bella even jokes to herself that Angela could join the party if she turned out to be a witch, revealing a fondness, given all of Bella's other close friends have been supernatural. If Bella wants you to be a magical being, it means she really likes you as a person. The TV show could take what the films did further. It could add more scenes between Bella and Angela. Developing Angela's character, the show could allow viewers to become attached to her. What this would do is anchor Bella to the human world, adding tension to her decision to leave. In the books, it's too easy for Bella to leave her human life behind, because she never grows close to anyone. But if Angela was shown as being her best friend, someone she even spent time with when not with the Collins, her decision would be more challenging, and the grief she'd feel over never seeing her friend again would add depth to both the story and Bella's character. Jessica could go either way, becoming a confidant or an enemy, going, as Bella puts it in the books, over to the dark side. As for Mike, he could provide additional comic relief, like he does in the films, and Eric could be portrayed as another good friend. While he wouldn't be as close to Bella as Angela, he could still be another reason becoming a vampire would be difficult. Number 2. Colin backstories and relationships. At the heart of the Twilight Saga, you have the Collins. Edward is interesting enough on his own, but half the series' fun comes from his adoptive parents and siblings. Their varying personalities bring more out from Edward. Carlisle reveals Edward's reserved side, while Emmett can bring out his playful side. Each character also has a unique backstory, most of which are covered by the books, and the Twilight Illustrated Guide goes even further in detailing their histories. The TV show should actually show viewers these stories in flashbacks, going back to the human lives of Carlisle, Rosalie, and Jasper. Moreover, the TV show could explore those stories only mentioned in the books. Bella learns while talking to Esme that the matriarch was changed after attempting suicide. However, the illustrated guide goes into why, telling Esme's story of abuse and loss. Esme was abandoned by her parents to an abusive husband, living in a time when women had no rights, and she fled her abuser to become a schoolteacher. She gave birth to a son, but within days the baby died, plunging Esme into grief. Other stories which aren't actually shown in the books include those of Emmett and Alice. The films capture the lives of Rosalie and Jasper perfectly, but leave out Carlisle's tale. The show has the opportunity to show viewers glimpses of everyone's life, such as the scene in which Rosalie carried Emmett to Carlisle after he'd been mauled by a bear, while resisting his blood. Including both scenes from the books and the illustrated guide, the show would reveal more of the characters, allowing Bella and the viewer alike to grow closer to them. As for Bella herself, her relationships with each of the Collins should be more pronounced. Apart from Edward, she should spend more time hanging out with Alice or talking to Esme. As she gets to know each character, they could reveal their backstories to her, with the show cutting to one large flashback or several smaller ones. I want to see Alice fussing over Bella's clothes, Bella helping Esme to cook something while they talk about the family, or Bella learning vampire history from Carlisle. I want to see more banter too, including Emmett's bad jokes and Alice's bossiness. Alice has some especially fun moments in the books, such as her begging Edward to buy her a yellow Porsche like the one she stole in Italy, or the parties, from graduation to Bella's wedding, which she drives everyone nuts with. The scene in which Emmett makes suggestive jokes about Bella and Edward while an oblivious Charlie sits there could be hilarious too. Number 3. Bree Tanner and Midnight Sun. As far as canon goes, Twilight includes 2 companion books, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner and Midnight Sun. While the books have some overlap with the main entry in the series, Both also feature scenes unique to themselves, as they're told from the perspectives of Bree and Edward respectively. The Eclipse film did make an effort to bring Bree into the narrative, so that viewers would feel something for the girl when the Valkyrie decided to kill her. But a show could actually dive into her story. Shown as a separate subplot, Bree's relationship with Diego and her discovery of Riley's betrayal could add depth to what would likely be the show's third season. Characters like Fred could even be included, and the grittier underbelly of the vampire world would be revealed. As for Midnight Sun, Edward has plenty of scenes independent of Bella. When he first smells Bella's blood, he runs away to the Denali clan. There, he resists the advances of Tanya, seeking advice from his cousins. Both the Twilight book and film gloss over this, but this scene could introduce viewers to the Denalis earlier, so that their inclusion later on feels more natural. Edward's struggle, too, is much more pronounced. At one point, the Cullens even debate killing Bella, with Edward arguing against such a course, and Edward confides often in Alice. From Bella's perspective, she's simply trying to get close to an unusual boy. From Edward's perspective, the stakes are much higher. Alice warns Edward that there are two outcomes if he takes Bella to the meadow. He will either overcome his nature, or he will give in and kill Bella. Alice can't give him a definitive answer, but Edward chooses to take the risk. When reading the same scene from Edward's perspective, it's much more dramatic. And by including these scenes, the TV show could drastically raise the stakes. If the audience knows Edward could literally kill Bella, that Alice has even predicted such an outcome, and that the other Cullens might destroy her too, the narrative will be given a heft it lacked before. Finally, there's the chase sequence at the end. First, there are the scenes in which Edward tries to trick James, then there are those he spends chasing him, that he might rescue Bella. In the books, the climax is mostly Bella waiting with bated breath in hotel rooms before finally being tortured at the ballet studio. In Midnight Sun, though, this section of the story is much more exciting, including airplane escapes, car chases, and moments in which Alice uses her powers to chart their course. The climax is nothing short of fun. TV shows don't have to stick to one perspective, and so the television series, in drawing from Midnight Sun, has the opportunity to mix chase scenes in with Bella's anxious waiting, or to show more of Edward's struggle, creating stakes where they were absent from both the Twilight book and film. Number 4. Bella as an active protagonist. I don't expect the show to make Bella a fighter, but she needs to be shown as making more decisions, including those Edward disagrees with. When Edward refuses one of Bella's requests, she usually has no choice but to pout. However, if Bella is shown as challenging Edward more, to the point where he even gives in, that could go a long way towards helping viewers to connect with her. Moreover, even if she's kept out of the fighting, she can still make plans. When it comes to her need to drop in on Charlie before fleeing the tracker, the show can make it clearer this is her idea. In the books, Emmett even urges Edward to listen to Bella. From future battles against Victoria to their problems with the Valkyrie, Bella can be shown as taking a more active approach. To be fair, she does make some decisions. She insists on putting her mortality to the family's vote when Edward digs his heels in, and it's her choice to remain pregnant with Renesmee against the family's advice. In becoming a vampire, she becomes even stronger, practically saving everyone's lives from the Valkyrie using her shield. The TV show needs to show Bella making choices, keeping to those choices, and coming up with plans. She needs to be a participant in any discussions, and Edward's character should be shown as listening to her, if not right away, then over time, as he grows to not only love her, but respect her. When Bella pushes, Edward needs to relent, or face some consequences, such as Bella barring him from her room or imposing new boundaries until he agrees to listen to her. As far as protagonists go, Bella is what you'd call passive. Instead of her making things happen to her, and she's left to react to them. More trouble and conflict should follow as a result of her choices, without viewers having to wait until breaking dawn for her to affect anything. As a quick aside, be sure to hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video so far. Number 5. The consequences of immortality. Edward and Rosalie, among others, spend the majority of the series warning Bella against becoming a vampire. As far as they're concerned, their existence is miserable, and no rational person would choose it. Even Carlisle has reservations, making a point of changing only those who have no chance at a human life. The Doctor and his son even suspect vampires lose their souls, complicating their feelings. Comparatively, Alice and Emmett seem to enjoy being vampires. As such, Bella's choice to embrace immortal life doesn't have to be rife with angst, but there should still be consequences. The books note that Emmett, cheerful as he is, still suffered. He killed a human when her blood sang for him, and he had to leave behind his human family. Alice can't remember her human life, and so there was no one for her to mourn. But the loss of her memories is a tragedy in itself. For Bella, giving up mortality seems too easy. She has some reservations, especially when she faces the loss of Jacob, but she still gets over any doubts too quickly. Her human life is painted as dull and unable to give her any more. But Edward, in pushing her to have human experiences, might have a point. At 18, can Bella really grasp what she's giving up? To begin, Bella is told she'll need to cut her parents from her life, and that alone should have given her more pause. If she didn't hesitate to become a vampire, she still should have hesitated to become one so soon. After all, why would waiting a few years be such a hardship if it meant Bella could spend more time with Renee or Charlie? Then there are Bella's friends. In my previous point, I noted that they should be given more depth, and that a close friendship with Angela could complicate Bella's choice. We all know she's going to become a vampire, but a series could show her struggling with her decision, with flashes of Angela, Renee, Charlie, and any other things Bella would be giving up. Bella should have to face the consequences of her choice before committing to it. She should have to struggle. After all, conflict is great for any story. Number 6. Bella's human life. One way to develop Bella's character would be to reveal more of those around her. Bella is a child of divorce, something thousands of kids struggle with, but the subject is little explored. Renee and Charlie married too young, rushing into matrimony before considering the sacrifices they'd have to make. And Renee ended the short marriage when she began to feel trapped in the tiny town. In the original saga, Bella realizes that her father never got over Renee. A powerful moment, but one which is never visited again. Bella also explains how she had to look after her mother, pulling her out of bad situations and looking after things when Renee forgot. A dynamic which, in my opinion, sounds like parentification. Book Bella struggles more, with her insecurity, with numbness when Edward leaves, and with anxiety attacks. She often has bad dreams, she literally hallucinates when Edward leaves, and she's restless in her sleep, squirming and talking. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that Bella has mental health problems. But again, neither the book or the films explore this side of her character. Whether because it's her personality or an effect of Renee's lack of responsibility, Bella's character should be explored further, not only on its own, but in relation to the people who raised her. More of Charlie's heartbreak should be shown, along with Bella's reaction to it. Bella could even try comforting her father, even if they never discuss the matter. As for Renee, glimpses into Bella's early childhood could help viewers to understand why she's the way she is. Her desire to be reckless, to start defying others, to throw herself into self-destructive scenarios, or to put others before herself could make more sense if Bella is shown in flashbacks as being asked to act the part of the responsible adult. After being left to handle adult responsibilities by Renee, it makes sense for her to want to cut loose and do something stupid. As for her penchant for flinging herself off cliffs or riding motorcycles, this behavior, however idiotic it might look to us, makes more sense when we look at Bella's dynamic with her mother, in which she was taught to look after Renee before herself. If it's clear that Bella doesn't value herself like she should, and explained why, her choices can be given further context, while for viewers, her character in general would have more depth, dumb decisions notwithstanding. Number 7. Give Bella and Edward common interests. Those who read the books and watch the films struggle to understand why Edward and Bella were drawn to each other. For some, the relationship felt shallow, as the lovers seemed to have few commonalities beyond being attractive. Bella spends an inordinate amount of time describing Edward's appearance, and she also asks why Edward is drawn to her, a question which is never answered. Edward is drawn to Bella initially because of her scent, which drives him half mad, and then he's intrigued further when he can't read her mind. However, neither of these aspects of her character are grounds for him to love her, and they're seldom shown as actually doing anything together. They meet at school or their homes, but they never go out anywhere. At least with Jacob, Bella did things. In addition to building and riding motorcycles, they hiked, hung out, and attended an awkward movie. Bella made an effort to go places with Jacob, and the relationship felt more natural because any romance was built on a foundation of friendship. Interestingly, Midnight Sun did address this issue to some degree. Bella and Edward actually talked about something other than her blood, discussing their favorite books and quizzing each other on the things they liked. The first Twilight book also showed more of this, with the pair grilling each other on everything from their favorite color to the music they preferred. When Bella tells Edward her favorite color is brown, that's actually a funny moment, but some saw Midnight Sun's editions as being too little and too late. A TV show could take the pair's commonalities further. The series could lean into Bella's interests, and not only books, but movies and music. Edward should take the time to watch Bella's favorite films, and vice versa. When talking to Edward, Bella should be at a used bookstore, explaining to him why she enjoys this or that classic. In time, the lovers might even find they enjoy some of the same things, be that piano compositions, Debussy, or certain books old and new. They should be seen doing things together, going to the woods, shopping for books, exploring Edward's music collection, or arguing over the merits of Wuthering Heights. These scenes don't have to be overly extensive either. References to each character's preferences can be made in passing, as they address the main story, and important conversations can include their shared hobbies as a backdrop. For example, Bella could be struggling to choose between two used books while they discuss Victoria. Or Bella could help Edward to organize his music as they argue over graduation. Much of the characters' personalities can simply be shown, allowing the plot to continue while giving them moments in a visual medium to reveal not only more of themselves, but why they'd enjoy being together. Number 8. The humor. Twilight can be silly, but it's at its best when it embraces its absurdity. One of the reasons I love Breaking Dawn the most is because it seems to know what it is. Twilight and New Moon are moody, taking themselves too seriously, but Breaking Dawn acknowledges the saga's sense of humor and embraces it. The story can still be dark, but there's more banter and intentional humor based on Edward's extreme personality. Others can disagree, but I always laugh when Edward intentionally causes a traffic jam so Tyler can have a chance to ask Bella out. Then, in Breaking Dawn, there's the before and after car situation, in which Edward, in lending Bella a car to use while human, provides her with a vehicle which could literally withstand tank fire. If that wasn't enough, driving a flashy car forces Bella to deal with a bunch of car nerds. Then there are all the ridiculous one-liners, like Jacob telling Edward he's hotter than him, or Edward asking in an irritated voice if Jacob has a shirt. Such dialogue isn't cinema-winning by any stretch, but such exchanges are fun to watch, and a TV show could benefit from acknowledging Twilight's silly side and leaning into it. Even Bella provides some humor in the books, responding with sarcasm or offering Edward the occasional snarky remark, a side of her personality not seen in the films, but one which could strengthen her character if taken further in the show. In conclusion, as it stands, I enjoy the films. I'd have been happy with them, and I've complained often about the seeming lack of creativity studios have shown of late. Before long, movies that are only 2 years old will be getting remakes. Originality seems to be dead, and I'm honestly sick of the same old rehashes. At the same time, I won't pretend I wouldn't devour a Twilight show. And if approached correctly, a show could improve on not only the films, but on the books themselves, fleshing out the Cullens, developing Bella, adding depth to Bella and Edward's relationship, and including those scenes deleted from the films. A show could offer something new to seasoned viewers, while still respecting the spirit of the source material. A reboot isn't needed, but it could still be fun, and it's worth noting that not every fan was happy with the films. I enjoyed them, but there's plenty a show could still explore. With Midnight Sun to draw from, the TV show also has access to more source material than the original filmmakers did. Would you watch a Twilight reboot? What would you like to see included that the films excluded? Is there anything you'd like to see changed or added to the books? Sound off in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and happy reading.